It is July 3rd, 2023. This is Sergeant Sarah Ashton-Cirillo of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, speaking with you from the Territorial Defense Forces Media Studios in Kyiv. We lead today with an unspeakable loss. Victoria Amelia, an award-winning Ukrainian writer and fierce advocate for justice, died overnight from injuries suffered in the June 27th Kramatorsk terror attack. Russian forces have killed Ms. Amelia and more than a dozen other journalists since the beginning of the full-scale invasion. Ukraine's war for liberty and liberation against the enemy is based on the pillars of democracy, which includes ensuring freedom of the press. Ms. Amelia, like all others before her, is now an eternal hero who will inspire for all time. Now to the front lines we go. According to the commander of Territorial Defense Forces Media, Colonel Alexei Dmitrishevsky, who is at the front, Ukrainian troops are moving forward in undisclosed areas of the Donbass. We will have more information from the colonel coming later. Reports from the Department of Strategic Communications are of the invaders concentrating their main efforts in the Liman, Bakhmut, Avdiivka, and Marinka directions. With this has come intense fighting along the entire line. 39 separate battles took place yesterday, with Ukrainian troops continuing to push ahead in all directions. Over the last 24 hours, the AFU's Department of Strategic Communications confirmed that Defense Forces shot down 13 Shahed 136-131 drones. 4 others fell harmlessly. Due to the ongoing waves of incoming Russian UAVs, the Ukrainian government is continuously upgrading our air defense systems. This includes awarding 3 different million-dollar contracts to tech startups concentrating on this mission. They were given out by Ukraine's Minister of Digital Transformation, Mikhailo Fedorov. Next, we discuss the realities of war. Commander-in-Chief of the Ukrainian Armed Forces, General Victoria Zaluzhny, made global headlines last week with his candid and wide-ranging interview in the Washington Post. In explaining the specifics of the current military campaign, the general made several necessary points. Ukrainian troops are advancing daily. However, we can move even faster if supplied with more munitions and air support, including the vaunted F-16. Losses of Western equipment that are appearing in media are a byproduct of war. We are using these systems for liberation, not as props for photo opportunities. General Zaluzhny also reminded the world that the entire command structure of the AFU is ready for any scenario, including Russian threats to use nuclear weapons and nuclear terrorism. And he reiterated that nothing the enemy says or does will change the main goal of the ZSU, which is the complete deoccupation of Ukrainian territory and a return to the 1991 borders. General Zaluzhny's thoughts regarding Russian use of nuclear weapons are especially important, as credible reports state that the Kremlin is bringing their workers back to Russia from the Zaporozhia Nuclear Power Plant, while those remaining are told to blame Ukraine in case of any nuclear catastrophe. It is clear to the world that any problems at the ZNPP are the sole fault of the Russian terrorists, and Russia's attempts to proactively pass blame is a transparent and foolish manipulation of the truth. The AFU is prepared for all outcomes in Zaporozhia and reminds everyone to act calm and follow the proper procedures that have been set in place for any eventuality at the power plant. In the north, President Volodymyr Zelenskyy instructed the AFU command to strengthen Ukraine's borders with Belarus. This reallocation of resources was necessitated by the supposed exile of Wagner mercenaries to the Russian vassal state. While there's no immediate threat of an invasion from the north, the Lukashenko regime is untrustworthy. In responding to the uncertainty of the situation, Ukrainian government officials and military command have ensured the entire front line and all borders, including that with Belarus, are properly equipped in terms of equipment, fortifications, and troops. Internationally, Ukraine's allies at the Parliamentary Assembly of the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe recently adopted a resolution supporting the creation of a special tribunal to prosecute crimes against Ukraine, while condemning the Russian Federation's state ideology, better known as Russism. In continuing to stand with Ukraine, by passing this resolution, the global community is again showing its willingness to push back against the tyranny, terrorism, and war crimes of Putin and his criminal cabal. We end today with a montage of scenes showing how grateful and dedicated we all are to those who are maintaining and utilizing our air defense systems. Every time you close the sky, you save lives and bring us closer to liberation. Slava Ukraini, and may God bless our troops.